Okay, so obviously everybody heard about FAST, right? And it's in a lot of people's mind. And one of the things that people aren't clear is what's the difference between FAST versus SharePoint search. So I pulled up this document online, comparing different search capabilities. So in case you didn't know, there are several different flavors of just SharePoint search. So there is a foundation, which is a free version, it comes with search. There's a server, a search server express. There's a search server, which is a standalone search product, both of them. There's a SharePoint server, which is the collaboration platform with search included. And then there is a fast search server for SharePoint. So there's...
And recently, didn't Microsoft added the fast search server capabilities into the enterprise?
For internet.
Yeah, internal enterprise CAL. So if you have an enterprise CAL, you can use fast internally.
Right, so the question is has Microsoft added the additional CALs or client access licenses for FAST? Potentially. We're talking just about capabilities. So in terms of capability, it's fast search server, and whatever CALs are out there for internal or external use, those are just licensing models, right? So those are kind of just the agreements that Microsoft made with vendors on how to sell it. But in terms of capabilities, this represents both, right? So I have this document here, a couple of, and it's kind of like a list of features, and we're going to go through them. We're going to go through them one by one. I'm going to show you the actual. I have a fast search server demo running here on my desktop, and which I'm remotely connected to. I'm going to show you some of the high-level capabilities and then some of the configuration involved in configuring some of those features. So this is going to be a bit more technical than just the business overview. I'm not going to go too deep on the technical side. The reason why I want to go technical a little bit and show you the configuration part is that so when you talk to the client, okay, this is light configuration versus, okay, this is heavy and more likely a custom development that's involved. So let's go one by one. So basic search, we're talking just doing a regular search on SharePoint. It's available across through all of the sites. One thing to mention here at the end of the document I have, something important to keep in mind, and you'll have access to that, but something to point out. SharePoint Foundation indexes and performs the search on about 10 million documents per server. Server Express and Search Server, a little bit more. Those are specialized search products. SharePoint Server, 100 million documents, and Fast Server, 500 million documents. So right away you see that the additional costs associated with a fast search has to be justified by implementing in organizations that have a need for 500 million documents. Those are a lot of documents. Right, so it's definitely not something that you would implement in a smaller organization, and you will see also by some of the features we're going to talk here why. So visual best bets is a first feature in this list that is not available in any other search and available in a fast search. So let's see what's that all about. So I have side by side here. This is my fast search, and this is my enterprise search. Right, two tabs in a window. So I'm going to search for a key term here that I've created a visual best bet for, and you'll see what that's all about. So how many of you are familiar with what best bets are all about? SharePoint search best bets. So best bet, basically you search for, let's say, some abbreviation, let's say statement of work, SOW, right? And then you're taken to the site which is defined by administrator that says, okay, more likely, this is the best bet. This is where all the SOWs are, for example. In terms of visual best bet, basically, if you have a site that, let's say, has some vivid graphical representation of, let's say, a project, and it's stuck in people's mind, when they search for it, you can give them a visual clue or visual best bet that that this is what they're searching for, and this is the best bet. So, for instance, in my case,
is that image backed by some metadata that's being scanned by the search? Or?
Just as a regular best bet, this is defined manually on an administrative side. Okay. And actually, I'll show you how. So, So how do we create this visual best bet? It's pretty, the process is pretty simple. So I'm going to open my actual intranet, because that's where all the configurations are, not on the search portal, but on the intranet. And I'm going to go into Site Actions, Site Settings, and down below, under Site Collection Administrator, so I have to have a Site Collection Administrator rights, I have Fast Search Keywords. So best bets are part of keywords, and so in order for you to add the best bet, you have to add a keyword and then extend the keyword, and some of the capabilities that are going to be associated with keywords, such as synonyms, and whether it's a one-way synonym or two-way synonyms. We're going to talk about what the difference is. So this is how you create this. I'm just going to cancel out of it and edit one of the existing keywords that I have here. So I'm going to add a keyword, the KTC. Oops, that takes me to the same page. I'm just going to click on it. So in here we have some of the basic things, such as the keyword itself, and whether it's a one-way or two-way synonym. So the difference between the one-way synonym is the one-way synonym shows, basically maps the particular term to another word that's actually going to be performed to perform the search. So basically, in my case, if someone searches for KTC, what they really mean is search for gear in this case, and the gear is a test project here on this particular site. A two-way synonym is if I search for KTC, give me results for KTC and for gear. So if I define two-way synonym, this is where it's going to be defined, and this is what it means. So, and here's where we define the best bet, right? And the visual best bet. So the regular best bet is whatever is available on a regular site, on a regular enterprise search, and visual best bet is something available for fast search. Yes, Paul?
Can you make it closed loop? In other words, can you report on what people are searching on, take that data, and then feed it back into, script it back into these things? Because doing this manually takes.
Right, absolutely. So the question is, can you see potential best bet suggestions and then automate that process of adding those best bets? Yes, there is a report that as your portal is being used, it scans for some of the things that are searched the most and suggests the best bet. I'll show you that report in a moment. And the automation part would have to be a custom scripting or a custom development. It's not complex. What we're talking here, on a let's say little to most complex is probably just a slight complexity kind of configuration to automate that schedule. So let's click on Add the Visual Best Bet. And here is basically how you add the visual best bet. You give a URL of the best bet, and then you'll also notice this particular item here, the user context. We're going to touch base on that a little more down the road. But what that means, the user context, is you can target a variety of things in FAST, including best bets, to be targeted differently depending on the user context that's logged in. So, for instance, we're talking here. Let's say. You might have heard it in the past presentations, right? Sales versus technical consultant, right? They're going to get different best bets, and we're going to see how you can actually configure that. And also, you could specify here the start and the end date for this best bet to show up, right? So let's say if you have a product, right, and you made that product into a keyword, and salespeople are searching for that keyword, you can actually display sort of like an ad saying, okay, from this to this date, by the way, we have a promotion on this product. Or for instance, if it's a technical person, you're searching for a product that's the support for it is gonna discontinue, and please suggest this. It's sort of one of the scenarios that you could think about best bets or visual best bets. So obviously we can here edit or remove the best bet or visual best bet. And there's also, related to keyword itself, we're kind of jumping ahead of that Word document list of features, but we have also things like a document promotion or document demotion. So you can promote or demote some of the documents for that keyword. So for instance, if I'm searching for KTC and I have searches coming back from intranet.contoso.com/site/sp2010pillars as my URL. I can demote that URL and promote sites. Sorry, that's not actual. This is my best bet. This is the actual search result. So I can promote items coming from the intranet and demote items coming, let's say, from this pillars project that we were talking about, right? Because you may have documents that are relevant from their context on both sides, but some of them are more more relevant from your perspective, right? Maybe some of them are drafts versus some of them are more final release documents. So you can promote or demote your keywords or results coming from those keywords, and we're gonna talk about it in a second. So those are our visual best bets. Let's see what's next on the list. So scopes, obviously, you can define scope on all of the search enterprise products, including FAST Server. Search enhancements based on the user context, only available in FAST Search, and this is actually a very, very interesting feature. And first when I looked at that feature, I thought, okay, it's probably just based on it's probably like audiencing, right? If you're familiar with the concept of audiences in SharePoint, you can specify in a web part, right, in the web part properties, show it only to that audience. So the web part is only going to show up to that audience. Well, actually, that feature goes way beyond, way above and beyond the Call of Duty. So what you can actually do is you're not limited to some SharePoint defined metric to target your or to define your audience. You can actually use user profile service application available in SharePoint 2010 to build your audience. And if you're familiar with the user profiles, how many of you are familiar with the user profiles? Few. Let's briefly talk about it. So, for instance, I'm a system account, right? If I click on, well, let me actually, well, why not? I'm gonna click on my profile, and I'm gonna access a user profile, or that particular user profile page that talks about. There's added my profile that talks about some of the or where I have some of the properties assigned to me in terms of me as a member of organization. So for instance, here's a little blurb about me. There's my name, there's my picture. Well, obviously system account is just administrator, so a lot of those are not filled in. There's some of the managed metadata ask me about. There's my mobile phone, my home number, and there's some more interesting information here. For instance, my past projects that I've been involved in, which I can define, or my interests, or my department, I think, is somewhere here. So, or office location for that matter, right? So those are all user properties, and you can actually create your own user properties. Significantly, it's fairly insignificant. It's not that difficult to create your own user profile properties. I'm going to quickly show you how to do it from the administration side. So here I'm on a central administration side, and I'm going to access the user profile service application, which is the host for all of the properties. And I can see what are the properties that are already defined, and I can define my own basically just by using user interface. So I can pick any set of those properties to build my audience. So there's my manage user properties. And usually this takes a little bit of time to render all of those properties. And right now you can see we have about 68 properties. We're only using some of them on our user profile page, but we can create more properties particular to our organization, and then use those properties to build our user context. So while this is loading, I'm going to oh, there it is. So those are some of the properties, right? There it is, department, and lots of like manager, right? Who's my manager? So for instance, I would assume that I want to give a different set of results based on the department. So how would I go about that? I'm gonna go to my search server, to my regular intranet site, and access the administration page of that site. and right where we defined the fast search keywords, there is the fast search user context. Remember, this is only available for fast. And here's one that I created before. And you can create a new one. So let's see the one that I created before, what that's all about. So this kind of gives you the list of things to pick from, and you'll see that there's only several. Well, where's the rest? Well, as it turns out that in order to show the rest, first it was only office location and ask me about, so I added department and skills. In order to show more properties, including your custom or out-of-the-box properties, you just need to run a quick PowerShell script, and that will create the user interface for you or administrator to actually manage those. And the neat thing about this is the fact that, see, department is a regular text field, as you'll see from this list. So it's just a text that you type in, where skills is a managed metadata, and automatically SharePoint, without really you run the same commands for all of them, it'll automatically pick from the list and it'll render this user interface for you to define your context from the metadata, because it recognizes that skills as a metadata field. So this is how you build your user context. For instance, department has to equal sales. In this case, and that defines the fact that my audience is now sales audience. So then, for instance, if I go back to this visual best bets, I can say, let's say the KGC, this particular best bet that I picked, is only going to be, I think it's right here, or, oh, it's in the actual best bet, or visual best bet. Here I basically have a choice to pick from available user contexts that I have defined. So that's one of the major features in user profile. It's really, in fast search, it's really flexible. It gives you a lot of flexibility. So this is search enhancements based on user context. Custom properties. We already kind of touched base on the user properties. Again, it's available on all of the, pretty much on all of the enterprise search products, including fast. You can pick a metadata of the document and make it a managed property, so that way you could filter things by that particular metadata field. So for instance, if you, in our case, for instance, we have a blog posts which belong to, which have a content type of a blog. You could say, okay, give me the results only for blogs. So the only thing that you need to do for that to happen, you just need to map the metadata field, which in this case is content type, and then your users can search in a manner of specifying the metadata field, such as, for instance, content type, which is one of the out-of-the-box metadata fields. And then the value of that metadata field, and they will get only the for instance metadata that has to do with the document. And there's lots of other metadata fields, as you can see on a refinement panel here. They've been pulled up, but you can define your own metadata field. So if you're using custom metadata, you can map it to a managed metadata property and let your users define it like this. Or you can create a link that automatically feeds in that query that only shows up-to-date documents of that particular metadata. I'm not going to spend too much time on it. You probably all have the idea. And this is, again, something available in all of the enterprise search products. In terms of property extraction, so out of the box, SharePoint extracts some of the properties already, and fast search extracts some of the additional properties. So if we go back to my search results here, you'll see that out of the box SharePoint search, which is this is enterprise search, extracts things such as site, author, modified date, and search this fast search extracts some of the additional properties. Let me just go back to it really quick. Some of the additional properties that are quite handy. So let me search for word presentation and see what I get with it. So some of the additional properties are such as things like company name or product category. And also we can map our own refiner categories to display more refiners based on our custom metadata. So let's see what else. Query federation. Again, that's available in all of the enterprise search products. One of the things to mention here, just to give you an idea for those of you who are not familiar, the federation basically means that you can get result. You can type in one query and get multiple results from multiple sources. So there is web parts available in Search Center allowing you to get results not just from from your site, but you can get results from Bing or from other systems, external systems. And you can write, if you want to take it even one level further, you can write your own kind of a connector and connect to things like a hummingbird, for instance, and you can search hummingbird.
The best example of this is I saw FAST group is talk to SAP.
Mm-hmm.
You could type in the customer name in the FAST search line, and it would go back through the business data catalog to SharePoint.
Yep.
And pull up the customer record, custom fields.
So the users are familiar with already existing SharePoint UI. They don't have to, right? They have access to that. The only thing to keep in mind is that you have to write your own custom security trimming.
Well, business data catalog does security trimming.
Oh, okay, it does if you have
configured.
configured.
Piece of that interface. And that's a value add. That it will still inherit the security training. It'll pass on that to business data catalog to SAP.
It passes on. Perfect.
What about things like Boolean operators or trimmers? Like, does that
Right.
still apply here? Or?
Yes. So I think we're gonna go through that. Yeah, it's gonna be in the next couple of. There isn't too many things left, but yes, there is enhanced query language that you can actually query more things in fast search. And actually, I'm gonna show you an example of that.
And a federated example, it'll apply.
It'll
Federated
depending on, of course, that provider that
Right.
performs that federated search.
Language.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, absolutely. So it definitely applies to out of the box, but the federated is
Yeah.
depending on the
Sure.
limit. So query suggestions. This is actually pretty handy, and it's available now in all of the products. It wasn't available before. It's quite handy. If you've searched Google or Bing, you'll know right away what that means. So for instance, I'm searching for SharePoint Server. You get the SharePoint Server 2010 as a suggestion. The way that works is if the user has typed in a query, searched for it, received the results, clicked on one of the results, and we have to have at least 6 clicks a year, and then it's being added to those things. So it's a popularity thing. It's a popularity thing. But as I recently found out, if you want to pre-populate this, you can run the PowerShell simple PowerShell script and pre-populate as many queries as you want. So not only the query suggestions apply here, but they also, so this is kind of a pre-query suggestion, right? So before you perform the search, for instance, I'm searching for presentation, right? If I'm searching for server, and this is kind of a post-query suggestion. It's called a related searches web part. It shows up again in both enterprise and fast search, and it kind of compares whatever you searched for. If the word is in it, it kind of gives you, hey, did you want to search for this maybe? So it's a post query suggestion. As a matter of fact, when you're using this PowerShell script to add the query suggestions, it adds to both automatically, to here and to your related searches web part. You can, by the way, if this is distracting, you can disable any of those features. You can disable this hint, and you can disable the related query web part, because this is just a regular SharePoint page that you can add it. One of the things, similar results, and that also will touch base on some of the advanced search parameters that you can feed into search. So what is similar results? It's only available in the fast search, so we are in a fast search right now, and Brian helped me find this particular option. It's enabled right now. It's again, if you want it or you don't want it, you can make that choice. So if I search for presentation, for instance, and if I click on similar results here, Fast Search will automatically kind of look at the document and assign different weights to various attributes of the document. So for instance, it's actually more it's basically saving you from querying it 10 times yourself and thinking, oh, it's almost there, how about if I search for this? How about I search for that? And you kind of narrow it down. Well, similar results actually will narrow it down for you. So if we look at the query string here, I know it's hard to see, but basically what it's doing, it says keyword equals presentation, and then it feeds this parameter saying presentation, give it a one weight if it has the word presentation. Then some of the other properties, sort of review, product review, so basically it evaluates the document, right, and other different keywords in the document or metadata of the document, and it assigns various weights, and that's how it calculates, your what you're looking for similar to. So that's what that is. Sort results on managed properties rank and rank profiles. So what this is again only available in Fast Search. If you remember from a regular SharePoint search, or if you don't, let's take a look at it. Not sure if it's going to be showing up here if I turn that option on, but it's not showing up here, unfortunately. But you have an option only to pick from like 2 different sorted by categories. So you can pick relevance, which is some magically calculated number, right? Intelligently calculated number, and the date, I think. Where in here you have more options. You can actually even specify your own options to sort documents by. So in this case, we want to sort by document rank. Let's take a look at what else is available out there in the sort by category. So I'm going to switch to edit page mode, and as you can see, the page turned into this collection of different search pieces, right, that put together a search page, such as results, best bets, statistics, and there's this what's called the search action link, which takes care of sort by for our results, and those all web parts are connected together and feed information to each other to give you the search experience. So I just access the edit option of this particular web part, and some of the one of the properties here, there you go, display properties. You can specify what else do you want, and those are some of the out of the box sort by categories, right? And you can create your own sort by category. It's a little bit more complex. On the scale 1 to 10, it's not 1 anymore, it's more about like 4, but you can create your own, which will, in your organization, will intelligently sort your results based on
You could rank them by strategic importance.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So this is important to keep in mind that that's available there too. I'm just going to close the edit mode of this page. So what else do we have? We have, right, so we talked about those properties. We have relevancy tuning by document or site promotions. So we kind of touched base on that briefly. I don't think it deserves special attention. It's basically demoting or promoting documents, right? We looked at it when we talked about best bets. Shallow results refinement. So refinement, you've kind of seen the refinement panel on the left here. You can refine by various different categories. You can actually add your own category into here based on the managed properties. Very easy. On a rate 1 to 10, it's probably going to be one of those 3. So you could say, let's say, I don't know, a client, right? And you can have automatically this refinement panel pull all of the clients. So if you're searching for presentation, it'll, or let's say statement of work, searching for SOW, and it says SOWs, here they are, hundreds of documents. Do you want to refine them maybe by vertical, industry vertical, or by, and this is automatically populated. Very handy, very handy.
Well, another thing to point out is that the refinements now include counts for fast search.
Right.
Accurate counts.
Accurate counts, very good, that's true. So in enterprise search, those were kind of like a rough guess, where FAST actually gives you accurate counts for this. And also, again, one of those customizations that I saw really neat online is ability to graphically refine items. Fortunately, I'm going to have to show it by hands, but for instance, if you have a pie chart, you can have a pie chart here based on some information, and it shows you the pie chart of, let's say, if you're searching for sales, I guess the information is being feeded off from the data in SharePoint, and you can actually click on the pie chart rather than clicking on the link. So that's one of the nice touches to add additional UI to your refiners. So that's available. Document preview. Well, this is something that you've seen already, and you probably are, you know it better than I can explain. So one of the things that you can do, you can actually click on this, and it'll show you more details. So one of the cool things is, like I'm searching for this presentation, and I'm like, okay, I think this is it. Turns out it's some draft with 4 slides. So this can really give you, okay, let me preview this one, which is the one that I really care about, right? And you can actually preview the whole document. So it only does PowerPoints and Word documents, just in case you were too excited. It's enough, right? Right. What else we have? Federates with Windows 7 search, people search, social search. So you can search for people and for social metadata in here. So people have their own little page with their own web parts on it. So for instance, obviously presentation doesn't return anything, but if I search for a person, it gives me a little bit more here, and I can customize what it gives me. And I have some of the actions here that I can take. Obviously, the sort by is a little different. Social distance is one of the categories.
Social distance is I think, the most powerful piece of this, because it builds on the fact that smart people know smart people. So I know you know people, or I know Al knows people. So if I can connect to you, I can connect to them. It builds networks that way. It's another Facebook. Wow. Very, very, very powerful organizations.
Yep. So for instance, in here I'm searching one of the metadata things, right? I'm searching for Gears, so it gives me all of the people that have skills, and Gears is this site's demo internal project. So it gives me all of the people that have been working on the project. For instance, their hobbies, right? Their interests. I can find all of the people with those interests. So people search is pretty powerful in this sense. So and those kind of are some of the maybe least interesting options, but rich web indexing, support, taxonomy integration are also one of the available options. So one of the things that you notice here is multi-tenant hosting. One of the major differences in SharePoint 2010 is the ability to assign service application to service only particular sites and separate the content in the databases. Let's say if I have 2 separate departments that should have data separately, let's say legal versus HR versus just regular corporate intranet, I can separate that. So unfortunately, Fast Search doesn't have that. I'm not going to speculate why. I have some thoughts about that, but yeah, that's not available. So hopefully this is pretty much it. Hopefully this gives you a good overview what Fast Search is all about, and and potentially help you evaluate in terms of when client asks you, okay, should I look at it? What else is out there? What can I take advantage of? Hopefully that'll give you some better idea. So I'm gonna probably stop our recording, and then we can go into questions. Yeah.